day all. Ira Epstein of Linn & Associates with your SPDR ETF wrap-up. And this is for Wednesday, the 5th of August, 2020. Well, it's never-ending bull market. I said in my videos that I did for the futures markets, Runaway Train. Remember that song? I don't have a good voice, so I'm not going to do it. But that's what it is. You've had this runaway train in the XLK, the QQQ, GLD, and SLV. They're just running, and there are fortunes being made. Why? People believe that all this spending that America is doing on COVID-19 is going to come home to roost at some point. It listens to the Fed at the same time say they're not even thinking about raising interest rates. So you've got a 0.54 interest rate on the 10-year note tonight. What do you think inflation is? You probably have a negative real rate. So suddenly the metal markets come alive. You've got a stock market. Hey, I'm better off joining into that than earning nothing on the other parts of interest. And you've got stimulus happening. All a phenomenal one-time-in-a-lifetime probably event. We haven't seen things like this. I thought QE was something in 2009 and so on. This is beyond it now because it's a worldwide event. And in that worldwide event, what's happened is analysts are starting to think there might be better opportunities abroad than even in America, yet they're still buying America. Interesting. I looked tonight before we get going here, and I saw Mitch McConnell, I saw Nancy Pelosi speak today, and President Trump. I walk away with the impression that politicians, being what they are, I don't believe anybody. Number one, I don't believe the president when he said he didn't know that there was talk about $25 billion more for the airlines. I saw the interview. It came in Chicago time, 5 o'clock. I see that there is talk amongst the Republicans for that in the Senate. Airline traffic's only 27% of what it was. You got to keep the airlines going, but they can't keep charging us and goosing us every time we fly. Got to be some payback here, even though it's a loan to them, and it better be a loan. What we want is, as consumers, something out of it. As for Ms. Pelosi and the Democrats, and it's not Mitch McConnell. It is Mr. Meadows and it's Mr. Mnuchin. They are the ones that are negotiating. Mr. McConnell apparently doesn't have the backing of his 51 senators. In other words, it's not he, it's they. There's a group of them that don't want to go with the next deal. What if we don't get one? Then you probably are just days away from the president doing a payroll tax holiday and doing something about the evictions. That will get him points amongst his followers anyways. But what do we do about all the people in pain that need those checks? I don't know. In XLK, my eye goes on this chart to a gap. Gaps get filled. Do they always? No, but you've had a heck of a run. I bet it gets filled. Now, I wish I could tell you when. I don't know. And would I bet bearish that it's coming down for it? Listen to me. I'm screaming it. I don't want to break the microphone. No, but I do think it can get filled at any point. A sign that it wants to be filled, we now get. Yesterday's low in the market was 112.42. It's also a swing line low. What a swing line does is there's 5 rules that make up this study. This is the chart without the swing line. With the swing line, you get to see where the lows come in and the highs come in. The 5 rules look at the previous day, and I look to see, do we have a higher high day and lower low day and inside trading day and outside up, outside day down. 5 variables. And then I wrote the rules for it so that when I put it on a chart, I don't change them. And the market tells me, am I trending? An uptrend defined as higher highs, higher lows. Downtrend, lower highs, lower lows. And no trend in some sequence has either a higher high, lower low, or a lower low, higher high. So they'll swing around, but they're not in a stair step up or down manner. This is an uptrend. It's been in an uptrend. The market is staying over the 18-day average of closes. I call that the line in the sand. What else? I've pointed out to you that each break to this average has produced one thing recently. What? What is it? Each time it hits it, it comes back and makes a higher high. It hasn't stopped the process. So you remember these things and you keep it in your arsenal. What else do I look at? The Bollinger Band is resistance, and you're trading at it. You're running on it right now. Is it a gorilla glue run? Let me tell you what gorilla glue means. It means that you get 3 to 5 days where every day the market is hitting it. You didn't do it 2 days ago. You're not there. I don't know what tomorrow's going to hold. This is called hitting the band and pushing it, not locking in. Go to a gold futures chart. You will see a gorilla glue trade. It is just locked in there. Look at silver. It's not. So you see the differences. One is more powerful than the other. I'm overbought. So the slow stochastic study moves between, like other oscillators, overbought, oversold, but I discovered something years ago, brought it to the founder, the man that created this, his name was George Linn. He said, George, I discovered something. I'm pretty proud of it. I used to have him on my TV show 25 years ago called Stocks, Options, and Futures. That was the old CNN network. CNBC bought them to create CNBC. I had a show at 1 o'clock Chicago time, nationwide. The phones wouldn't stop ringing. I mean, you could, it was amazing. That in the old days before you were getting leads and all that way, that was it. And I had everybody on, the Robert Prechters, Joe Granvilles, these people, the Bollingers, every name. I had them sign books to me, but I'd learn from them. Because before the show or after it, I'd get to ask questions nobody could. And I'd probe, and I'd probe. That's my nature. And I learned, and I came up with the idea of embedding when you get these numbers that go sideways over 80 or sideways under 20. That's different. We don't have it here. When we get it, I'll show it to you. But you're overbought in an uptrend pushing on that band. SMH, this is the gorilla glue. Notice how the market doesn't stop hitting that number. It is not a sign that the market's overbought. And so many traders say that. They're so wrong. You lock in, and John Bollinger teaches this. Once you lock in on that band, the market, instead of giving the typical guy, it's going to back off, it doesn't have to back off. It's glued to it until it's not glued to it. And it's often accompanied by the embedded reading, which tells me on the first break away from it to the downside, there's a way to try to catch that break. You don't want to sell. You're trying to buy the market until it's no good. You're never trying to fade this. Trying to buy on the pullbacks, which it's not offering so far. In the XLI industrial sector, the market is in a key resistance area of this gray line, the 200-day average in the upper Bollinger Band. I think the pros, if they went long, they probably did it yesterday, right in here. And I think today was the day they stepped out of the market. That does not mean you can't go higher. But until you break out of these bands, you haven't. And you can jump back in, but you're overbought. You're at that band. I think the money's been made. In XLE, you're neutral here. First off, you're in what I call a pipe. Do you see how clear the sideways action is and just going sideways? I term that a pipe. In a pipe, you get many attempts within it to break out to the upside and downside. Most fail. And you get frustrated, and it absolutely will screw you up for a trade you should make because you got money tied up in something that isn't working, and you get angry at yourself. You don't have to believe me, but I've seen it. I wrote a book called The Psychology of Smart Money many, many years ago, and I learned from it. I interviewed the big guys that were making money, and I learned the difference between what the public thinks and what the pros think. And I've applied it all my life, and I learn more as time goes on, obviously, and I found out what a pipe is. And I haven't found it anywhere else, but that's what it does, and I stay away from them. I'll let you figure the breakout, not me. One way you could do it, by the way, when you come to those, maybe you buy call spreads, put spreads, maybe people write strangles thinking it's staying in there. I'll let you get all confused with that. I stay away from it. In the NASDAQ, I look at the trend up. Don't have to be a genius for that, but you are overbought, and this should be a stall out area. Doesn't mean I'm going to be right. Am I bearish? No. So let's assume I'm wrong in my analysis. What am I missing? I'm not going to be short. If I buy, I want to buy it on the terms, and when I say I buy, telling my customers to buy, I'm going to tell them to buy it on the terms that make sense. It doesn't make sense buying a Bollinger Band, in my opinion. In the emerging markets, again, we're very similar to that pipe action. I don't think I want to touch it. Am I fundamentally bullish the emerging markets? I am. Am I on this chart? I'm not. So you can have two things. Gold. This chart never backed off. Never backed off. It's kept the embedded reading, and it just keeps hovering, backs away just enough to let some people buy into it on these breaks. Then it goes back to the upper Bollinger Band and seems to stall in that general area and gives you another shot. Until it's over, it ain't over. This is a big base. And this was a pipe, and I want to show you that because this is so important. You formed what right here? I've widened this out for you. Do you not call that sideways action? Now, the way that I've got the scale set, it's not quite a pipe, but it's only a $6 range. If I scaled it, you would see the pipe. I unscaled it so that I could keep everything on the chart. And those pipes determine if you're going to have a base or a top. And from them, you'd never know how big they're going to get. I mean, that would be a phenomenal thing. I've tried to measure it. We have something in our company called price counts, and they're unique to us. I've never seen them anywhere else. Gordy Linn and a group of people at the Linn Group wrote them many years ago. I use them. Our clients use them. It's in a piece of charting software. And it gives you an idea when you break out a first objective, second, third, fourth, fifth. They're longer term. They're not meant for short-term trading. Very interesting where you're at. When I come to the gold miners, I'm not as bullish this as I am the futures. I've said that to you repeatedly. Now, you went up today, had a nice run in the market, got to 45.78. Where's the upper Bollinger Band? 45.75. What do you think I think the pros did? The trend has been up, but I think it's overbought. But if they were long, I think they bail at that upper Bollinger Band and going home, well, they're $1.22 ahead. That's not bad by getting out. In TLT, I'm nervous here. If this drops and you lose this embedded reading, price and the 18-day average are likely to come together. Is it going to break the uptrend? Don't know. That last break low is 168.97. The 18-day average, if you look at it, it's gaining about 20, 30 cents a day on average right now. So that should put it around the 169 and a fraction. That's pretty close, but will it hold and stop it from breaking that and breaking the pattern of higher highs, higher lows? I don't know, but losing that is a sign momentum's been lost at that moment. In FXE, you've kept the embedded reading. Are you not at new highs on the move? I don't worry about the swing line on this. When you get the embedded reading, it takes over the whole chart. And that is just what I look at to see what it's going to do. You know, for those of you that trade and you like to know what the futures are doing, in the morning, I have my futures video. Now, I'll start this just so you can get an idea of what it is. As you know, your ETFs, be them the metal ETFs, the interest rate ETFs, the stock indices, the QQQ, the DIA, and so on, they're all looking at what? They're not following, they're not the leader. I hope you get this. The leader are the futures because many of them use the futures. That's what they have to buy to get their values. I start off at 5:40 in the morning with a subscriber video dedicated to the futures markets. And I cover the whole spectrum. The idea there is first I read what's going on in the morning. I start reading 4:30 in the morning, and I write down my notes. Then I get down, I put them into a PowerPoint, and I start explaining to you what went on in Europe, America, and what's going to happen this morning in terms of reports. I cover the market in this exact way. So if you're trading the FXE, I've got the currencies. FXB, I've got them. Stock indices, I don't care if it's the Russell, the Dow, the S&P, the NASDAQ, they're all covered here. Energy markets, all covered here. And you need to look at them because they are going to determine what you're going to do at first, because they are based on the futures contracts. Don't get me wrong, there's plenty of spiders out there that are components more of stocks than this. But when you get to these bigger numbers, I believe that that's how they work. And you need to look at both. So in the morning, I start you off with that. Then by 8:30, you got a good feel. Oh, gee, I was looking at this to be down, and I was looking at something else. Where does it go? How expensive is it? Do you go to Starbucks? Do you buy a big coffee, one of the big ones? How much more is it to give this a try than that? You got 30 days of this. You got 15 minutes of your coffee. Give it a try. Go to our website, www.iraepstein.com. Under the word research, it's all explained. Sign up right there and we'll see. Webinar. I was going to do a webinar this Sunday. My IT department can't get the pieces done that I need to get it in time for the invites. They'll have it done tomorrow, but I think it's too short for the invites to go out. A week from Sunday, 5 p.m. Central Time, clear the decks. Live webinar, bring in your stock, your ETF, your spider questions, futures questions. We'll do our best to bring up the charts, let you write the questions. I'll do my best to answer them. We'll get feedback. I'm Ira. You have a great day. I'll see you all tomorrow.